So these are discarded hard drives from laptop computers, but they're 10 years old, 15 years old. So this is a hard drive, and in those days, a hard drive, a big hard drive, was like 300 gigabyte or 360. And these you can buy at Pontiff. Even today, you can find these in the used section for 200 baht, and they're a SATA drive, they're very fast, and they're pretty stable, so you could have this for years and years. So on a drive this size, just let me tell you that if you were making 6-minute movies in high definition with stereo sound and music, you could put probably maybe 15 to 20 movies on one of these. And you could have them going in your classroom with this media player that comes from 25 years ago in this setup that I built. So what I did 20 years ago, I was having a big problem with kids coming in the classroom. They were out for a sporting event or they were ill, and then they missed 2 classes maybe in a row, and they come in, and I just started a new project. I've got 20 kids in the class. What am I going to do? How am I going to bring these kids up to speed? I can give them my handouts, but that's not enough. So I started making movies on these SD cards. And in those days, a card was 1 gig or 2 gig. A big card was like 6 gig. And those cards were only about 250 baht. You could buy those cards in those days. And I bought maybe 30 of them. I made a movie for each card for every stage of the project. And I try to keep it to simple concepts. So on each card individually, you had one concept which would lead you to the next card. And I made a library, and I used one of these media players and a 7-inch LCD screen built in, and I made a piece of furniture actually, and I built about 5 of these players to keep in my classroom. Each one had the same library. I just copied the cards. So there's like 30 cards you could choose from, and they were all labeled, and a kid just went over and plugged it in the machine. You didn't have to know anything. Turned the machine on. It would instantly start to play with music, in color, with hi-fi sound, and it was wonderful. And it was entertaining as well. I tried to make them loose and entertaining. So every concept that you needed to do a project in my class, there was a card for. And this problem of kids being absent and coming in late when you have 20 other kids to keep going on their project, you could give your full attention to them, and these kids could bring themselves up to speed. So this was like a godsend. And then, of course, I got the idea of selling this to schools, and grandeur, I would become a millionaire on such a simple concept. Anyhow, these media players, I'm going to show you a movie that was actually made more than 20 years ago of these players that I created in the classroom with my aide, and we drew it out and built them, and we even changed the style. So let me show you the movie now. You know, one of the biggest problems that we have in our classes is that we teach a lot to do with safety and a lot of hand skills. And I think as over the years, kids, their attention span's about 5 seconds. That's a little bit sarcastic, but it's not very far from the truth. We have very interesting things to show the students besides movies and a lot of lectures and actual hands-on kind of things, but they don't seem to remember a lot. So we thought we'd treat that with building a machine that solved that problem. And I've been using this technology for years in the classroom with these memory card readers, and I got an idea. Why don't I make single concept films for instruction and put them on SD card? So these SD cards are amazing. This is a 1 gig card. They're quite common now, and they even have 2 gig cards, and it's very small. And you notice these are titled. We built this machine that shows movies, and it simply has a media reader in it and a 7-inch screen. There's a power supply and cooling system in here, as well as 2 computer speakers on the side. And everything's built into the cabinet. When Jung and I have ideas, we discuss them a lot. We get into sometimes a lot of arguments on the way the thing should look, shape. For instance, I'll give you an example. In this thing, we wanted it to be a little bit more streamlined, so we're going to put the screen on an angle, a viewing angle. But then I thought, well, the fluorescent lights in the room are going to reflect in the LCD screen, so that probably wouldn't be a good solution. So this discussion results in a drawing. And anytime we build anything, we always start with a drawing. I tell kids to draw, but they don't want to. They just want to build it. They say, can I just build it and not draw it? Well, really you can't. These students are much weaker skills in pre-visualization in their head. So they don't really build stuff very well if they don't plan it on paper. So I started with some very light sketches, and then Jung comes along and he starts shading in and making a pretty elaborate drawing.
I think building things, the most important thing is drawing and designing, because you can see already what's going to be like when you finish doing it, and you can't wait to see it. And, it's step by step procedure. It's a lot of thinking to do it, how big it is, and when you put together, it's going to fit in the box, everything.
So this is a lot less volatile than DVD media or CDs. CDs get scratched or they pretty much get destroyed and then they can't be read anymore. But that's not the case with these cards. They're magnetic proof. They're really pretty cool, and you can record on them, and they will hold an MPEG-1 or MPEG-2 or MPEG-4 movie with stereo sound, comparable to a DVD. So you really can't tell the difference between when you play a movie back. These are compressed movie modes. They're very popular. Everybody knows what MPEG-1, MPEG-2, and you all know, everybody knows, kids know what MP3 is, which is compressed music. That's done in a formula, so you can fit lots of songs on one of these flash cards. Now this media has come down in price. It's only 200 baht for a card of 1 gig right now. And that's a pretty good brand name. So one of the things that a student can do when we get students that are weak, where the information Khao Sai Hu, Og Hu Kwa goes in one ear and out the other, and we see the kid doesn't really have the skills, we can take 3 kids that are sort of weak in the class, have them sit down and plug in one of these movies, and I'll show you how it works. You turn the machine on like that, and you simply take the card of your choice out. Okay, this is on bronze jewelry. I'll give you these are all cards that we just made up. Some of them have me really teaching in the movie. This one I think just has music, but it shows how to make a pin or a bail. So you plug the card in and just push play, and there's nothing to do. You're right there at the information you want to get over to the students. We're going to learn how to make a binding called a pin bag used for pin. And it's very easy to make your own. Of course, you can buy these commercially. First, we'll need some wire. So anyhow, this is a really good thing for students, and it seems to me this could be sold. It's commercially viable. It would actually be wonderful for all schools to have this. This card medium is just becoming famous now, but actually we were using this technology 5 years ago. And if you look up here, you'll see in the classroom, those are movies that constantly repeat that are playing from cards. But every time we come up with a new lesson, think about this. In algebra, you could have your teacher at a whiteboard just going over some formula that's pretty hard to understand, or some concept, just on a whiteboard, writing it out. And then taking the students that don't understand it to watch it again and again as many times as they want to get remedial help. A lot of times, what are you going to do when a student walks in, he was absent for 2 classes or 3 classes, and then he comes in and he says, "What are we doing?" And you've just trained the whole class on using a gas torch or some other really important skills and safety concerns in the classroom. So this is a wonderful thing you can do for students to reinforce their learning. So as you saw in a movie I made nearly 20 years ago, can you imagine that? of these media players that I was using in the classroom, the same idea could be used currently, today. And there aren't any schools using this, and I really don't know why. So this is a normal size contemporary hard drive that you buy today. This is 1 terabyte, and it's nothing compared to what you can buy. For today, you can go into a computer mall and buy 4 terabytes. I don't know what you'll do with all that space. But anyhow, on here, Pontiac was selling these with 30 Hollywood movies on them. You could make your choice. You'd buy the whole hard drive from the dealer, so the dealer didn't have any inventory to lose to the police when they came. And you could buy this, and many people were. And you take this home, plug it into your media player or your screen, and you could watch Hollywood movies. 2.5-hour movies are on here, 30 of them. Can you imagine that? And then this would plug into the media player. Here's the cable for it, plugs right in, and it lays on top. Now, of course, you don't need a hard drive of this size. You know, it's too gigantic. So I say go and buy these ones that Pontiac Plaza is throwing away for 200 baht. These are from old laptop computers, sometimes 20 years old, 25 years old, these computers. It's a SATA drive, and it's good, and it plugs right into this cable and will lay on top. And this is what the media box actually looks like. And you're looking at a piece of technology that's about 20, 25 years old. And you can buy these today in all the computer malls in IT City, Luxy Plaza, wherever you go, these things are available to buy. My idea was to build these stands that can be put in front of every classroom in my wonderful school. Look, here's another one that I built with a much larger screen. So lately, I'm worried about subscription to my classes, and I think teachers should do their own marketing. You know, we should show what goes on in our classroom. What goes on in my classroom is so attractive and beautiful and amazing. The skills that kids get, I'm still in love with it. You know, I'm in love with teaching because I see the skills they get. And it's far past anything that you would expect to learn in school. My elective is so special. So my idea is, at this wonderful international school that I'm in presently, why not have every classroom, I could build a device like this for every classroom. If I'm going to build one of these stands, I could build many. So these screens are cheap now. This screen you can buy for about 600 baht, 800 baht. It's used. And they last forever. It's LED, so it's going to last forever. I bought desktop mounts for these screens. You can see that this is a very standard mount for a small screen, and this is a desktop part, and then there's a clamp for the desk. Now what I did is I cut the clamp off for the desk. I cut that part off, and I built a stand, a very secure stand, and the whole thing comes apart, so I can put it in a taxi cab and bring it to school. And if I can weld one of these, I can get my welder in my village. I have this guy that I know for years, and I can build these. I know he'll build them. I've already talked to him. For 1,000 baht, or 1,500 baht a piece, he'll build these stands for me. And I can imagine building one, and I really don't understand why schools don't understand that this marketing experience for schools is so vital. Parents come in, they want to size up a school. Most of the time they walk up to a classroom that's empty, and they only look at the cosmetics of the classroom, but they really have no idea what it looks like when kids are engaged and working in the classroom. And if there's a particularly good teacher, why not produce a movie on that class, on biology or chemistry, showing the kids engaged with microscopes, doing a dissection in biology, doing art, building a project where kids are engaged with the art teacher, and producing a 7-minute film or 6-minute film. Now you could put it on one of these very small SD cards. I'm talking about small in terms of gigabyte. You can buy that for 150 baht. And the movie would just loop. You just stick it in the DVD player, into the media player, and it'll repeat and repeat. And it's HD quality. And the sound, if you want sound, it's there too. It's stereo sound. Now you can make this with any hybrid 35 millimeter camera. Some of the 35s even have a remote microphone, like the one I'm wearing right now. This is a wireless mic. So the teacher could be demonstrating, he could be engaged teaching, kids could be learning to do a dissection in biology. It could be on the kindergarten level or the pre-kindergarten level of kids having fun. Why isn't it that schools don't do this? So when you walk through a school, and whether the classroom is vacant or not, you actually see the engaging activity that goes on during the day. You never miss it, you know. And this helps the teacher, especially a teacher that's teaching an elective, invite kids and entice kids to take their classes. And we should be enticing kids to take our classes, because what I've got to teach, with the message I'm bringing kids, is really important about, not all kinds of learning is academic. So kids learn to work with their hands and develop skills in my class. And there's another dimension to learning that they can go out and find a career in designing or making stuff. So why aren't schools doing this? The whole investment here, the stand is about $1,500 worth of steel. The screens are almost nothing. You can buy even bigger ones. This screen that I have here, I'm going to turn it around, is a small screen. But the larger screen, here's another media station I built over here with a large screen. I have a fancy media player here. This one even picks up Wi-Fi. So you can get movies from Wi-Fi or YouTube on this one. This is a real media station. You can see on top, if you come up here like that, you can see the hard drive on top. I have a small SATA hard drive on top. This is a 300. You know how much this thing is? This hard drive, if you buy it used, you can buy it for 100 baht, 200 baht. It's used, and it'll last forever, or almost forever. Now look at the size of this screen. On this, you have to get back to get this shot, but this is a big screen. Now this is an HD quality movie that will keep playing over and over again. And on that hard drive, I have 10 movies about my classroom. So every week I can just go over with a remote, and I can just come up and change it to another movie about my class or a project that's going on in my class currently. So why aren't you tell me why schools aren't doing this? You know what the investment would be? Even if it was 75,000 baht, can you imagine how lasting this would be in a school? When you're a parent, you walk through the school, you're trying to decide if this international school is right for you, and then you can see the quality of the teaching. On the elementary level, you can see your child having fun and engaged with other children and a teacher, and it really gives you a sense of what that school's about. When the school is vacant, when there's nothing going on. So this is always out there in the hall, right in front of the classroom. So why aren't schools doing this? Why aren't they marketing like this? Why aren't they viable? And everybody and his mother is advertising like when you walk into an airline office, there's huge backlit posters of places in the world that look so attractive and you want to travel. You know? So, but where everybody markets except education. Education is never marketed properly. They never show you the romantic, beautiful side of education where kids are busy.